Tēnā koutou katoa, good evening. Welcome into the breakdown. With 54 days to go until the start of the Rugby World Cup, the All Blacks had a massive test against the Springboks and passed with flying colours. To analyse it all, we've got the All Blacks assistant coach joining us on the show, Jason Ryan. We've got these gentlemen as well, Jeff Wilson, Justin Marshall and Stephen Bates. Is it too early to say, Marshy, the All Blacks are back to their best?
I think it was a complete performance. No doubt about the fact that it was a statement. They needed to make a statement. It was a good one in Argentina. It was a follow-up against the world champions. They're in a good place. I don't think that they are still on top of the pedestal in the pecking order, but man, it was a really good performance.
Yeah, probably showed that if they're mentally there, what they can do. And I'd say what they'd be really happy with, first 20 minutes are near unstoppable, but then they got into a little bit of a grind and South Africa got on top of them, but they were good enough to then get out of that grind and finish on top with another 10-point spread.
Look, it's two really impressive performances back-to-back against the Springboks. And it was last year in Johannesburg and now in Auckland at Go Media Mount Smart Stadium. The fact they've gone out there and done what they needed to do. And there's no doubt there's areas they would have felt pressure, but they've done all the work in the first 20 minutes and turned it all around onto the Springboks. This was a great performance in terms of confidence. It's a great step forward, but the job's not done. Every single week they need to improve and get better, and they need to work out, find out who their best team is before they head towards that first test against France at a Rugby World Cup.
So how important are these pre-Rugby World Cup test matches, the psychological advantage, working things out? Ian Foster said, at the Rugby World Cup, it's one-off matches. That's all you've got to peak for.
Yeah, they certainly do. And they have to work out little elements of their game. They have to figure out exactly how they want to play against certain defences. And I think that they knew what South Africa were going to bring defensively. They worked it out. As mentioned by Batesy, the first 20 minutes was outstanding. Test match rugby is tough. It's tough against the top nations in the world. You'll never have the full momentum of the game. There will always be a period where the opposition fight back, have their moments in the game. Good teams absorb that, and then they get back into the game themselves. That's what really pleased me about that performance last night.
First 20 minutes of that game, you mentioned the fast start. Stephen Kitchoff, I think, said it best. We were chasing ghosts out there for the first 20 minutes. That's literally what they were doing, weren't they?
This was foreign territory for them, Batesy, wasn't it? The fact that they're not used to getting behind on the scoreboard, not being able to control the tempo of the game. There was no set pieces. There weren't enough set pieces for them to be able to dominate in the areas that they're normally good at. And then when they started to have to play, the All Blacks put more pressure on them, they made mistakes. And this too, though, we shouldn't underestimate the fact this was their first game together as well, because they'd chosen not to keep this group together. They sent the advance party, and so it took them a while to get into the game. Their DNA wasn't quite on song. They're going to be better from here.
Yeah, and I'd say on that DNA, the one thing, because the All Blacks were so good in that first 20 minutes, what the All Black coaches and All Black team didn't actually get, they don't actually know how South Africa plan to play against them. They don't know if they're going to go for the aerial time all the way or they're going to try to play their way out of trouble. Because they were down by 17 points to nil, their game plan went out the window, whatever it was. They had to chase the game and it didn't work. So we still don't actually know what their #1 game plan is against the All Blacks because the All Blacks were so good for the first 20 minutes.
We know the All Blacks have so many kicking threats across the park. What did you notice about their kicking game with Beauden Barrett at 15 again?
I liked the way that he was quite happy to come in as a first receiver. But when he came in as a first receiver, he showed his vision in the game, his ability to find space with cross kicks, his ability to step up and recognise that because of that umbrella defence, it might not be on to pass. I'll kick. He created a try out of his kicking game here. I thought that his variation and his balance was exceptional. Probably one of the best kicking games strategically I've seen Beauden Barrett play for a while, but then you bring the entire team into it because it wasn't just him. Aaron Smith, some of his box kicking was so accurate. It put the box under pressure in the air. Will Jordan actually had that one in his arms, just unfortunately it came out, but it showed that not only the chase, the kick was accurate. The fact that every kick was contestable, the chasers knew and trusted their kickers to put them in the right zone. A little chip over the top, that worked. Another cross kick. South Africa didn't know where to set their back three because they weren't aware of where New Zealand were going to kick and they weren't able to adapt and adjust and they lost the aerial battle massively. You expect kicking coming out of South Africa Look at the stats of that. It's incredible how accurate the All Blacks were.
Balance and also getting their kick chase right. And they committed in their selection to guys who could get themselves in a position to make it difficult for the person collecting the ball. So all of a sudden going into the air. That's why Mark Talia was playing on one wing. That's why Will Jordan was on one wing, because when they chased, they came forward and they contested. Yes, we kicked, but like you say, I think 83% of the time we got the ball back uncontestable.
It's a miracle.
That's unheard of.
Great.
But normally it's them, Batesy, kicking to us.
Yes.
It was us kicking to them, and what we did do is we kicked away from their forward pack quite often.
Yep.
Everything was in open spaces, which gave the opportunity for our players to have angles in on the ball, and they made mistakes, knocked it on. This was unfamiliar territory for the Springboks, and you talked about it. All of a sudden, they got out of their comfort zone.
Yeah. There's obviously a lot of homework done, like that try from Will Jordan there. They realised, the All Blacks realised that in that area of the game, South African wingers are going to be high, and Ollie LaRue is the only one surveying the backfield. So they drag him to one side and then switch back to the other side. So all his momentum is going that way there, and then what happens is he becomes 3 or 4 metres late because they've dragged him to one side of the field, and that's homework. And there's a couple of areas that you can tell the All Blacks had done their homework on from the week before.
Well, I'll tell you what, every team in the world will be doing their homework on Will Jordan right now. How good was it seeing him back in international rugby, Marshy? And are we set on him as a winger, or would you still like to see him have a crack at fullback?
I'm really glad you came to the question first, Kirst, because
I know you've been critical.
I've been, it's not so much a criticism of anybody else that's playing fullback, it's just that they've never given him an opportunity. But Ian Foster said it in his post-game interview, didn't he? He said, hey, he's not a bad winger, is he? And I thought that his adaptation to being able to have a licence to roam, when he came across for the try that Frizzell scored, he came off the right wing, right across the other side of the field to the left wing and injected himself into the game. He chased everything down. That was a complete winger's performance. And there's not many wingers in the world that could play a game like that. So, yeah, well done. You've convinced me. You've convinced me.
So he's a winger now.
Well, no, you can still play fullback, though.
Oh, this is more about Beauden Barrett. This was his best game, I believe, in the All Black jersey for probably 2 years.
Yep.
In terms of controlling the backfield, his timing stepping into first five, but also his connection with the other players around him. And all of a sudden, he was playing that role as I'll say it, another pivot. He was getting himself in the right position, so all of a sudden you feel comfortable. It doesn't mean we're not adaptable in what we can do, and we can. If we wanted to change the game from your perspective and see Will Jordan at fullback, you could do that mid-game, depending on what happens. So, and we've got to remember clearly with their selection, Batesy, that they were really comfortable if they lost Richie Mo'unga, that Beauden Barrett was going to be their guy at 10, and Will Jordan would clearly have been the guy who went to fullback. So if they had to adapt and maybe change something, they've got that ability.
Yeah, they certainly do. And to mention on your point, Will Jordan, like there's a lot of competition around the wings. There's a lot of them, but he was that good that he's almost put himself there. Like you can't get rid of him. He was that good.
Can I just say, players are running out of time now, though, or time might have already gone for some guys in terms of there's only 2 test matches to go.
Who are you talking about?
Well, if you think about who hasn't played, clearly Sean Stevenson right now is very unlikely to get an opportunity. Lester Fainga'anuku, who had a remarkable season at Super Rugby, when does he get the opportunity to overtake a Moni Rawa, who played 1 test match and was very, very good? You can't fit everybody in.
And do they want to do it? You know, do they want to create synergy and get players' confidence in positions, create combinations, or do they want to keep injecting people in and trying to give them the opportunities that they deserve, but that upsets the rhythm of the team? Massive decisions for them to make in the next 3 big games.
Batesy, let's be honest, the only reasons why these backs were shining is because of the work of the forward pack up front, right? What has changed over the last 9 to 12 months within this team? Is it the personnel? Is it the coaches that they've brought in?
Well, I think we probably all know that Jace Ryan is a pretty direct character and he doesn't mind a little bit of confrontation, and sometimes confrontation brings the best out of people. But, I mean, I can't comment exactly because I wasn't in the camp, but what I did see is I really saw, and I don't like using the word so much, a Crusader almost synergy for the first 20 minutes. You look when the Crusaders come out and they play that first 20 minutes, they're full noise into it, and the South Africans just couldn't keep up with that noise. You know, they were just into absolutely everything. And the beauty about it was the physicality on that, but also the ability to keep the offloads going. Because they were able to keep the offloads going, that means the defensive line couldn't get set. When the defensive line couldn't get set, that's when we got a staggered defence, and then we just flowed from there.
You reckon the coach is pretty happy? Because Jason Ryan, the forwards coach for the All Blacks, is about to join us live on the program. Jason, thank you so much for your time. Now tell us, how proud are you of this pack? Go.
Yeah, good evening, guys. Look, yeah, we are. We're pretty satisfied of a lot of areas of our game, not just the forward side of it, I guess. Really proud of the effort last night, the speed that we played at. When we had the momentum, we were, pretty awesome, to be fair. But we still learned a lot in the game. When the momentum shifted a little bit and we had to grind our way back into some parts of it. But yeah, we're pretty satisfied with where we're at, but by no means getting comfortable about it.
Jace, have you noticed a real shift in confidence amongst the group over these first couple of games?
Yep, yeah, we have, Goldie. There'll be fear, but again, we keep the boys on. We've had some really good training quality, and we've been holding guys accountable and making sure that we're reviewing that. And we've put a lot of work into ourselves and what we need to do. It probably started from the Mount camp, and we got aligned with some guys and set out some key things that we really wanted to tick off in our game. And I think we've seen, some benefits of that in the last couple of weeks, to be fair.
Jace, congratulations first to you and the team on a quality performance yesterday, cracking test match. I'll hit you with a double banger. The first one, really impressed with the line-out. They're notorious for picking off line-outs. I thought it functioned really well, so you must be pleased with that. But secondly, you also would have watched 1,000 clips today, probably. Line-out maul against you, mate. I know you don't like it. What happened? Malcolm Marx managed to crash over.
Yeah, so thanks, Marshy. You went from good to bad there, didn't you? But yeah, look, on our line-out attack, I think Scott Barrett needs a bit of applause here, because he's really he's calling really well, and that relationship starts with the 10 at the day. So he's done a good job there, and we've given a few other guys some roles. Tupou Vai's involved in the line-out attack as well, and Guz as well. So we've got some good mix, and so we haven't got one person doing the whole thing. So that's why the line out has been good, and our hookers have been throwing well. So it's a lot of everything around the maul. Yeah, disappointing. We're actually pretty lucky last week against Argentina as well. So we've got to make some shifts in that instantly, really, and we will do. We'll put some work into that. We were just too late getting in the right place, basically. And, the box, it's a massive part of their game, and they're big men to shift. And, we started off all right in the game, but then we let that one slip at the end, which was really disappointing. And the boys will have they'll hear about that, and we'll go through that next week.
Jay, so we're on the line-out. We'll stay on the line-out. Your first three, I believe they were all called to the front. Was that previewed during the week, or was that just, as you said, was that just Scott Barrett reading the situation at the time and then calling there?
Yeah, well, we just challenged the boys to call where the space is. As simple as that sounds, Patsy, but they sat quite deep on the 15 traditionally with that potting system that they do, and we actually used the same movement 3 times, but we won the ball there. So, that's all good. We're happy to do that. But they did change up a little bit of defence, a little bit, I guess, to the last part of the game. But we adapted well with that. So the boys are just confident in doing their work during the week, seeing the pitches more than anything.
James, can you give us an injury update on some of the players in your squad? How far away is Sam Whitelock, and how do you fit him in with Scott Barrett and Brodie Retallick? How do you see that working?
Yeah, well, Sammy's coming along nicely now. He's, did him the world of good just to get the best work into his, Achilles possible. He's selectable. We know that. And look, what we've shown is we've got depth in locks, and there is genuine competition in this team right now, and that's exciting. And there's some, we had to catch up this morning as selectors. There's some headaches, and that's how it should be with the All Blacks, isn't it? So we're pretty happy with how things are progressing there, and guys are competing every day at training. And if they're doing that, well, they might get an opportunity in the black jersey, but there's no guarantees. So we just keep chipping away.
Jace, I have to ask you, in 3 weeks, you've got a couple of test matches to go before you announce a Rugby World Cup squad. There's a number of players recovering from injuries. Are they still well and truly in the selection discussion, the likes of a Joe Moody, a Fletcher Newell, clearly guys who have been in and around your environment?
Yep, they are, and they've been in with us all last week as well. Same with Davey Havili, and he's been in as well, and it's been great for them to, see what we're doing, sitting in the meetings, as well as Gilly and the medical team putting a lot of work into them to get them right. So yeah, they're definitely in our discussions. 100% they are.
Jason Ryan, we appreciate you taking time to come on the breakdown every Sunday. I am curious what hearing about it means, what a Jason Ryan telling off is like, but I guess we'll hear that another time. Oh no, we just be honest. We don't avoid any hard combos, because if you avoid something, it'll usually come back and bite you. So we just look each other in the eye and get stuck in. Thank you so much, and have a good week with your family down in Christchurch.
No worries. Cheers, guys. Appreciate your support. Thanks.
He's as honest as they come, Jason Ryan. We absolutely love his insight.